Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are talking about begonias today. I'm on a little bit of a begonia kick, you might have noticed, interspersed with some other things. What happens is, and I want you to give me a thumbs up if you agree with this, when you get into growing different sorts of plants, different genera of plants, maybe it's carnivorous plants, maybe it's gesneriads, orchids, whatever it is, you kind of go on, it's not just an upward trajectory, it is of learning of course, but it's also, you get more and more into the intricacies. So for example, you might start to grow loads of different hybrids of one particular thing, and you kind of graduate towards the species because it becomes the rare thing for you, the thing that is like the holy grail, if you like. You just tend to get more and more involved and in depth. You know what I'm talking about, even if I can't articulate it properly. So this has happened to me with begonias. I started, like many people do, thinking of the kind of gaudy summer bedding plants that you get, certainly in the UK, you get in the summertime, and really boring as far as I'm concerned. Then there's the big blousy tuberous ones that you get, that you see at the shows. Lots of people are really into those. They have their place. Do I like them? Yes, but not enough to grow in here. This isn't the kind of thing I'm interested in. It was only when I got into the other kind of begonias, the other begonia types, the rhizomatous types, the rex types, the cane types, that I really took off with my interest in these wonderful plants. So recently I've been talking about dividing rhizomatous begonias. We will have a look at the rex begonias, dividing those, but today we are talking about how I have moved on, and I am about to start an embarkation onto some of the more difficult varieties. Now, you might know that on Facebook and different other social media platforms that you get these communities of people who are really into the one thing. Now I am, more of a generalist, as you can see from behind me. I like to grow a whole range of plants, and I could actually really delve into any of these plants because I love them all, otherwise I wouldn't grow them, would I? But in terms of begonias, I've got loads of hybrids, great plants, but the thing about hybrids is they are specifically bred and developed and chosen for the ease of growth. Now that doesn't mean of course that everybody can grow them. They still have a range of all the different growth factors that we're all used to. Something like a species is definitely a level upwards, and the reason for that is because species are adapted to grow in specific particular environments. Now I've probably proven, I think, over the last few years that in general, the begonias that I grow, the hybrids that I grow, are pretty suited to my environment. It isn't that I am this wonderful, very knowledgeable grower who just happens to always get it right with begonias. It's more that the environment is suited to it, with a couple of tweaks that I've made to the greenhouse. The species will be more of a challenge. So what I've got here is 6 different species. Don't get your hopes up. These are very small plants. These are rare in the UK. It's difficult to get hold of these. And why? Well, because they don't grow really well in the UK. You've got to provide specific situation for them. So I'll just get them one at a time and I'll show you them as best I can. I can't really explain a great deal about them because I've not really delved into it that much. I will do as time goes on, and let's see what you think about this. So my first one was from somebody off eBay. This is Begonia negrosensis. Okay, so this is a species, and we'll have to see whether you can see this properly. So it has these lovely pink spots on it. I don't know where it's from other than an island, I think, off Thailand if I'm correct, somewhere in that area. And it does have these gorgeous little, a lot of begonias have this, like the patterning on the leaves and the like satiny effect. I don't even know if we are focusing in on that. I don't know, we'll have to hope that it does, otherwise I'll have to shoot it separately, and what you'll be watching is some B-roll. So that's Begonia negrosensis. I'm being very careful how I pronounce that, notice. So these ones are so fresh that they're still in the packaging that they arrived in yesterday, and when I get off this video I'm going to pot them up. So this one is Begonia. Now it's got a name of Species India. Now what that tells us is that it is a species, but nobody knows what. It's actually from India, and you'll see this theme pop up time and again as I show you these different plants. Some of the fuzz on here is actually cotton that the seller very, very carefully packed them in, and it did a really good job. Okay, so this is a species from India. Nobody knows what it is. I think the final confirmation of what it is will happen when it blooms. They will get a lot bigger than this. This is just the, you know, what they get sent to me as in the post. Next one. So this one is Begonia Drassopelta. Now you're quite sure you'll have seen this one. This one is quite a popular species. It's similar to Melanobulata, similar. Again, when these plants grow bigger, they will show quite different, really, quite different leaves. And you'll find that with a lot of begonias, the leaves really do change as they get bigger. So that's Drassopelta. And you've got to remember that these are plants that are natural. They haven't been changed, altered by people. They've only been changed by evolution. So they will have their own specific place to grow with their own particular environment. And it remains to be seen whether they can be grown well in a greenhouse in the north of England. Okay, this one is very cute. So this one is Begonia Dindui. This one's even got a little bloom on it. It's hard to believe that some of these, that all of these are species plants, just given the amount of patterning on these leaves. I can't even tell you whether they are rhizomatous or, you know, what kind they are. We will see when I look them up and when I find out properly what they're all about. That's really cute. Unfortunately, that flower is going to have to come off because I don't want it to put its energy into that. It's going to go into, and all of them are going to go into more of an airy mix than I'm used to putting them into. I put all my hybrids generally into multi-purpose compost with a bit of perlite. Always works for me with begonias, never failed yet. But these like high humidity, which is not going to be a problem between now and summertime, but they also really like to dry out, and I'm going to make sure that they do by giving them that airy mix. I will then have to amend that depending on how they grow or not. Okay, so the next one up, beautiful, beautiful leaves on that one. Now this one has come through as CF retinervia. I had to look CF up. It's one of those things that I knew once and forgotten. So CF stands for confer. It could be from a Latin, I think it's from a Latin word, but it basically means that we're not absolutely certain. We think it's retinervia, but we'll have to wait until it blooms to absolutely determine that that's what it is. But it's a beautiful plant nevertheless. Next one is another CF one. Little drab looking at the moment, but hopefully once it gets going, it'll look better. So this one is CF Pengchingyai variety Myanmar. So this is obviously one that popped up in Myanmar and it looks very similar. So this happened to Seismoriae, which became Longiciliata, in that it was named as Seismoriae, but then subsequently found that it was already named previously, several years previously, and nobody really realised up until that point that it was the same plant basically. So it became Begonia Longiciliata, synonym Seismoriae. So that's Pengchingyai variety Myanmar. We think it's a CF one, so we're not sure. And the last one I'm going to show you is actually a primary cross. So this is between two known species. So this is Begonia truncatifolia crossed with Rubitii. So again, I've seen some beautiful photographs of this on Instagram when it gets a little bigger, and apparently it's reasonably easy to grow. So a lot of these plants that I'm showing you today are grown in terrariums, and they're grown at above 20 degrees Celsius, constantly, and they're grown at above 80 degrees humidity. So this is why it's a challenge for me. I imagine in a terrarium the difficulty is the light and the temperature, which can easily be solved in a terrarium, not so easily solved in a greenhouse because you've got way more extremes to deal with on the outside of the greenhouse. Let us see. So they are my plants. Now, you might be distinctly underwhelmed by those. Let me know what you think. If you are a begonia lover, well, I guess you must be, otherwise you're unlikely to be watching this video. Have I wasted my money? Shall I tell you how much all that came to? Roughly £100 for all of those plants. The majority of them were from one seller, and the other one was from a separate seller. Have I wasted my money? Tell me what you think in the comments. I guess it depends whether they grow for me, whether I manage to keep the conditions that they need, or whether they die. I've told you I'm going to change the media. I'm going to make the media like a much airier mix than I normally do. I do have a hydrofogger. I've not used it for a couple of years, so what I intend doing is getting that out, servicing it, getting it going again for the summer months. It's no point doing it between now and say March time, but once that time comes, I can get it in here and I can make sure that it stays above 80% humidity, and that should do the trick. So do you grow any of these? Have you grown anything like this before? Would you like to grow anything like this? Put it in the comments down below, and for now, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.